Hello, this is Jason P. Wilson, Zero in X-Force, and I am posting my honorable mentions and comic pick of the weeks for the last 2 weeks of December. And now today is January 17th, 2012, and tomorrow I'm picking up more comics. And I'm all caught up on my reading. I just have not posted everything yet. I'm behind on my posting. So before I posted the first 2 weeks of the new year, my reviews for those comics, I wanted to go back and make sure I posted my picks of the last 2 weeks of 2011, and that's the last 2 weeks of December. These are basically the comics from the last posting that I did, and these are my favorite comics of those. So I want to start off here showing Red Hood and the Outlaws #4. Now, even though the best comics coming out right now by DC is probably the more established ones like Action and Justice League, Batman, that kind of stuff, I really feel that some of their brand new titles like Catwoman and Justice League Dark and Red Hood here and Nightwing, just to name a few titles that are brand new, I really think they're some of DC's best stuff. Now, Red Hood and Outlaws is no stranger to honorable mentions here, and mainly because it's always, these first 4 issues have always been solid writing and really good artwork, combined to the writer seems to really know the characters and really showing us a new face of these characters. But this artwork just is really nice, and it really just, I don't know, there's something about it. It's almost like artwork that you would find normally maybe in an Image comic. The characters are the kind of styles that I really like and enjoy reading. The way the character just draws everyone. I just, males, females alike, I just really think that this particular style is one that I've always been drawn towards. Something about the dramatic colors and the very detailed character work, all of that combined with really good storytelling has made this one of my favorite new titles from DC. Now, this particular comic is on here for a few reasons. Obviously, the absolutely great artwork, but it's also this particular story has like a John Carpenter type feel to me. There's something about a John Carpenter film that I've always liked, and that X factor, whatever that might be, it seems to be in this comic. You have some very strange things going on. I won't get into all the details, because if you're not reading it, you might want to be surprised. But things aren't as they seem, and now things are starting to heat up big time, and the action is just really taking off. We have Sunfire really getting pushed to her limit, and that hasn't really happened too often in comics in the past. But this is a really good, I think, villain for this team, and the tension, like that, what's going to happen feeling is definitely here, and it really benefits this book. I really think this is a strong comic book and a great honorable mention for me to have here. It just has everything you want. It has gorgeous artwork, great action, and characters that you really care about. So a very strong recommendation for Red Hood and the Outlaws #4. And like I mentioned, both Red Hood and the next one here, Nightwing, they're both coming out tomorrow, #5, so you can see them behind my postings. But I am caught up on my reading. This particular comic, #4 of Nightwing, is on honorable mentions for me, mainly because of the relationship that's displayed here between Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon. I really like it when they show these two's very unique relationship, and they seem to be really going for it here in Nightwing #4. Now, there's nothing super great about the artwork. It's okay. It's some people might really like this style. It's not always a style that I prefer. I prefer a style more like Red Hood. But you do get some pretty cool moments between Dick Grayson here and Barbara Gordon. Now, this is the new Barbara Gordon, so I think books like this are important to establish what kind of character she is now. She's not quite the stressed out Oracle. She's more of a free-spirited Barbara Gordon that she used to be before she was shot. And even though that still happened, she is a fresh, energetic, talented, go young woman who has this relationship with someone that she's known her whole life almost. Someone that they seem to have a very complicated yet free-spirited relationship, and that's established here. I think it's great. Some of my favorite Oracle stories with Barbara Gordon were the ones when Dick Grayson was Batman and he would come in and they would help each other, and you always had this like underlying thing going on. They care for each other because they had this really strong relationship, but it didn't work out. But their feelings have always been there, yet they have so much history that's also in there. So it's a very complicated relationship, and a lot of writers have done it justice, really done a good job in the past with their relationship, and I've always enjoyed that. And here, I think this is really the first comic to show that relationship, and it was important for me because I wanted to know if they were going to screw that up or not. But if this is the way they're going to be doing it, then thank goodness. It's a younger, fresher relationship, but you still have that history that established. Yes, they used to be together, now they're kind of casual, but they still have strong feelings for each other, yet they're going different directions. So all the good things are there. They just kind of freshened it up a bit, but that's good to see. Again, not my favorite art style, but it's good enough. There are good moments in here. Sometimes the artwork is actually very enjoyable. You have them two coming together on a mission, but you have some of this, if you find this, you have a lot of this going on, which I used to always remember, kind of old school, where they show the person doing certain things, and instead of showing multiple panels, you show one panel and kind of like ghost images. Sometimes it works, sometimes not so much, but overall, this is a really good comic. I really enjoyed the relationship between these two, really being brought out in the new DCU. So a good comic, and I definitely have been enjoying Nightwing. It's definitely one of the best new comics to come out from DC. I would say this one, Red Hood, Batwing, and yeah, those are probably the best brand new comics, along with Justice League Dark. So, yes, a really good comic. Now, I do want to show this one really quick as well. This is also honorable mention. Now, this is a big, fat $7 book, but it's very, very important for everyone to read if you've been reading Batman and Robin, and especially the Grant Morrison stuff. This is a really key moment here. Leviathan Strikes is a must-read for anyone that's been reading Grant Morrison. This kind of wraps up what's been going on in Batman and Robin, and also, obviously, Batman Incorporated. Now, this is on my honorable mentions for a few reasons. Obviously, it's a must-read. At the same time, I really like when they come out with a book like this. I mean, it's an expensive book, but you have the nice, almost like trade-like binding. It's not a trade, it's a comic, but it feels like a combination between the two. I thought the artwork in here was really good, and you can see them setting up stuff that's going to be happening in the future. I really do like this art style. It's great. Some of the characters in here, I know of them coming out in Batman Incorporated in the future, and after reading this, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a real fun new year for Batman Incorporated. Again, very good artwork, and the story's so strong, so very strong. This just missed out in being my pick of the end of the month. I would say just barely. This was at one point my pick of the best comic to come out at the end of last year. So many reasons. The only reason that maybe this would not be the best for people that haven't been reading Batman Incorporated or Batman and Robin is they might be a little confused. A lot of stuff that's going on in here is very heavily influenced of the past stories, so you might be reading this and getting maybe half of what they're trying to tell you. There's also a few things like here we have Red Robin in my favorite, his main costume until the relaunch. So that was pretty cool to see, because obviously he doesn't look like this anymore. So it was cool that they kept that the way that it was, and now that it's changing, it's going to be curious how they do that in future issues of Batman Incorporated. But a very good comic, a very strong comic, and an absolutely must-read for anyone that has been reading Batman and Robin and Batman Incorporated. It's a have to. It's pretty cool here. Now they try to make it a little bit friendly by giving you some very important information of past Batman stories that are intertwined with what you're reading now. But it's nothing in comparison going and actually reading the stories. So that kind of kept it for me for being my pick of the weeks of the end of the month. But still, great comic and one of my favorites. Next up here is Avengers Children Crusade, number 8 of 9. This has been tied with Red Skull Incarnate with some of the best limited run or series that I've ever read from Marvel. These characters, the Young Avengers, are just so intriguing. I've been hooked on them for a while now, but even if you've never read a Young Avengers book before and you started reading these books, you're not losing any of the emotions, really. I mean, what this really does is make you want to go back and pick up past trades, and you absolutely should, but that shouldn't keep you from reading this story. Now, obviously, it's almost over now, so if you haven't been reading this, you might as well just wait for the trade to come out. But while you're waiting, go back, pick up Young Avengers trades of the past. There's a few out there that are very important, especially I would say the first 3. But this particular story of theirs is one of my favorites, and I think that it's really going to be important to read this, especially with the new Avengers versus X-Men books coming out. This is definitely a major factor of that. But on its own merit, it's great storytelling, it's absolutely fantastic artwork, and when you can have this many superheroes and villains all in one story, have it actually not feel cheap. Like, you never at any moment feel like it's one of those books that you're reading and, oh look, there's Spider-Man in the background, oh look, there's Wolverine, oh look, there's Iron Man, but they don't actually have any presence. Not at all in this book. All the characters feel like they are actually there for a reason. There's nothing here that feels cheap. The writing, the artwork, the pacing, everything has been absolutely 5 stars. This is definitely a must-read. At this point, obviously, if you have to pick up the trade, but I would say even over Red Skull Incarnate, even over that, this is my favorite limited series that come out in 2012 period, and in fact, maybe even my favorite series limited runs that come out from Marvel in the last few years. Absolutely love this comic book, and I cannot wait to see the finale. I really hope they do it right and give us like a double-size issue. Love this book. Next up here is a comic, another honorable mention. I've been waiting such a long time for this book to come out, and it finally came out, and I am so glad it did. This is, of course, Image's Lady Mechanika, and the artwork has always been great from this book. Now, this book does not come out often. It's not a quick book, but it is always, always worth the wait. I just can't say more good things about this particular book. It's a great book. It's a great story. It's a really interesting new character. I think she's kind of like Laura Croft in steampunk world type thing, if that's a fair description. But it's a really great world they've created. It's very steampunk, but it just feels very alive. Like when you're reading through these pages, all the characters are interesting. They all have a very important part in the story. At the same time, even the less established characters, they just put more flavor into this great world that they have. Lady Mechanika right away is a character that you really like. I mean, she's hard not to like because they really establish who she is as a character and why you should care about her very easily. It's a very, I would say, the very first comic I was like really intrigued by her story and what's going on with her. Now, there were a few things I had to grow on me, like this villainess with the eye patch. That's been done to death, right? But it does seem to work, mostly because of the steampunk world that they're all in. But I was very excited that number 3 came out, and it did not disappoint at all, and definitely an honorable mention. A very strong one. But my absolute favorite comic of the last 2 weeks, and my pick of the last 2 weeks of December and 2011, was Monocyte number 2. Monocyte is one of those comic books that comes out, I don't know, every once in a while. And it's so good that you have to remind yourself that comics just aren't like this all the time. First of all, right away, the thing that establishes this away from any other is absolutely the artwork. This is not your average comic book. This is something more like you would see in a top grade graphic novel. But it doesn't stop there. Now, if that was just it, if it was just the fantastic artwork, to me it would make it worth reading, but it wouldn't establish itself as something as special as this is. It's the combination of absolutely masterwork all around. I'm talking the character designs, the characters, they're fleshed out. They have this, there's something about these characters that you're just so intrigued in. It's like everything that you really want in a new story, but you just don't know it yet until you actually get it. That's the best I can describe how great this comic book is. I don't want to spoil this, so I'm not going to get into the plot because I think it's really important for everyone to go out there and give this comic book a try, because I promise you, you pick up the first 2 issues and you will pick up every single issue that comes out afterwards. Now, this is only a limited run, unfortunately, but I think that I'm hoping that this will be a character and a world and a series that will keep on coming back. This comic book is definitely one of the best and one of my favorite surprises of 2011. I was not expecting this book. I kind of just picked it up because I was interested. I saw it and I thought, oh, let me check this out. But after reading it, I was absolutely so happy that I did. And the best I can do is tell people that have not picked up Monocyte yet to go out, pick up issue number 1. This is definitely IDW's best book that they've put out, I think, ever. But I understand that everyone has different tastes, but there's something about this book that's kind of beyond that. Even if you've never read a book like this before, it's the writing, it's the character design, it's the ability to not only be absolutely blown away by the fantastic artwork that you're looking at, but just drawn into a very alive world and characters that are so fresh and interesting that you really are going to finish reading this book and wish that you waited, because you just really want to continue the story. I'm glad they take their time. It comes out timely, but they're not rushing this project at all. I have no doubt when they're done with this, this will be one of the greatest limited runs to come out by any comic company. Now, this is number 2 of 4. It's from IDW. It's Monocyte. I've really rarely see IDW trade, so I wouldn't say wait for trade. I would say go out and pick up issues number 1 and number 2 and put them in your saver to make sure you get the last 2. This is a story you really cannot miss. It is one of the best comic books to come out in forever. So do yourself a favor, go pick up Monocyte. And with that, those are my comic picks of the end of last year. And I want to let you guys know I am caught up, and I'm going to be posting the first 2 weeks of January right after I get done with this one. And I'm really curious how many of these comics that I have in my list here of honorable mentions and picks of the weeks that you guys are reading, because I would like to know if you guys are reading the same ones or if maybe some of these are missing. But if you're going to pick up one of these comic books I'm mentioning, Monocyte. But they're all really good. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.